3. Two. 3. 4. 2. 3. Sweet.
Awesome. That is awesome.
What is up, guys? It is 48 Digital Host A.J. Wuest back here with 48 Now. Today I will be talking to Tara and Jeff Mello. They're the owners of the Cigar Box Guitar Store here at Low Mill in Huntsville, and they will also be talking about the upcoming Cigar Box Festival that they are putting on at the end of this month. So you guys are going to want to stay tuned. That is them on screen right there, and they're going to teach me just the basics on how to play a cigar box guitar. So I am super pumped for that, so stay tuned.
Crazy story there. A friend of ours came to visit Huntsville about 4 years ago, and he was a guitar player, and we brought him down to Low Mill to show him the Cigar Box Guitar Store we had heard about because it was something unique. Well, he bought a guitar there and he left it at our house.
Okay.
And I don't know anything about guitars. I don't play a guitar, but I'm an engineer. And I like to do woodworking. So I picked this thing up and I looked at it and I thought, boy, I could make one of these and hang it up on the wall because I would have no idea how to play it. So I built one of them and I went down to the Cigar Box Guitar Store and learned how to play it. And like any good engineer, I evaluated my design and I went back and I did new iterations and made them for friends and family, and then I just got hooked on it. And it's been a blast ever since.
And ever since then, you've just been building them nonstop, basically?
Started building them. I sold some on consignment there at the store, and the store owner, after having it for many years, was looking to retire. And he approached us about taking over the store. And obviously we said, no way, we don't have time for that. We've got our day jobs we've got to do. And when he said, well, he really couldn't find another person or family to take over the store, that he was just going to have to close it down. And we said, gosh, that'd be horrible. This is a very important resource for our community. We see how builders go in to get guidance on how to make their own cigar box guitar and how it introduces music into people's lives and how it's really beneficial for the community. So we really wanted to keep things going.
It had made such a difference in our lives because neither one of us play an instrument.
Right.
And we only play cigar box guitar even to this day. And when Jeff went the first time, he wanted to learn how to play and take the free lessons that are in our store. And then he built a guitar for me, and I went into play, and we're people who did not think we were ever going to play instruments. So it had made an impact in us, knowing that we could also make music.
Very cool. So after these things were built and you decided to pick up a guitar, how long would you say it took for you to master the instrument?
I don't think we've mastered it yet.
We're
do
still
you?
learning, no.
We're definitely still learning, definitely. And you know, like with anything, the more you practice, the better you get at it. And Jeff practices a lot more than I do. He's also teaching our weekly lessons in the stores on Saturday. So he's definitely gotten better at it. But I come from a background where the people in my family can't even clap to the beat of the music.
Right.
And so we have no rhythm in our family. So the fact that I can keep rhythm and play a basic blues and play rhythm guitar and sit down in our store and play with folks who are much more experienced is great.
Do you have a favorite song you play right now?
We do a lot of different stuff in our lessons, and we're gonna give you a little mini taste of that.
Today's the day I learned this thing.
You'll be shocked. It's very easy. We say one finger and count to 4.
Okay, I think I can do that. I'm not great at math, but I think I can count to 4.
I can see you got at least one finger. So.
Yes, I do. Well, I read somewhere that the guitar store, the Cigar Box Guitar Store here in Huntsville, is the only one that exclusively sells these things. Is that true?
Yes, it's the only brick and mortar store in the entire world. Pre-pandemic, there was one overseas in Australia. That one closed down during the pandemic, so we're the only one left. So it makes Huntsville unique.
Absolutely. I didn't realize Huntsville had such a big market for these things, so that's super cool.
We have people traveling to the store from multiple states away, and specifically, sometimes they're vacationing here, but often they will make a trip specifically to Huntsville to come visit us.
Right. And speaking of Huntsville, a big festival is coming up in a month. Can you talk a little bit about the Cigar Box Guitar Festival?
Sure. So another unique thing about Huntsville is we're home to the world's longest running Cigar Box Guitar Festival. And this year we'll be celebrating 2 decades of cigar box guitar music with our 20th anniversary festival.
We've got 4 days of music in 5 different locations. We start on Thursday, May 30th, and go through the weekend on Sunday, June 2nd.
Very cool. I'll have to mark my calendars for sure.
Please do. It's multiple different types of genres of music, kid-friendly for every single activity and music event in every location. And we're raising money for music in schools. We're raising money for the Microwave Dave Music Education Foundation and for Arts Huntsville's Creative Launchpad.
That's awesome. And I also read somewhere that proceeds for the festival go towards, I believe you might have said it, like the students' music programs.
Yes, music in schools. The 2 different organizations that we represent typically use those funds in different ways. So, for example, the Microwave Dave Music Education Foundation has a music scholarship program where they will give folks a year of free lessons on the instrument of their choice. They'll also bring musicians into the schools themselves and do music programs. The Arts Huntsville Creative Launchpad program works with the educators in the school systems as well as arts professionals in the area to come in. One of the recent programs they did was incorporating a music and dance program into phys ed for gym class
Very
at some of
cool.
the elementary schools.
That's definitely thinking outside of the box. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Can we talk about these bad boys now? Like, what's the history? Like, who created these things?
So when folks come into the store, we tell them, hey, you know, this is the only store in the world. We've been here since 2010. We're celebrating 20 years of cigar box guitar music. They go, wow, these things have been around for a long time. They've been around for even a lot longer. Actually, they go back to the 1850s when the cigar box was invented. So merchants, instead of selling the cigars in bundles that took up a lot of room on the shelves, they would have these little boxes made.
Yeah.
And there's early written history of people creating instruments with those discarded boxes. By 1865, we had the Civil War going on, and the government says, hey, we're going to start taxing the sale of cigars, and they must be sold in boxes of 25, 50, or 100. So then we end up with all these extra boxes. I should show them a picture of that. Hold on, let me get that.
Yes.
I got more stuff here. So in 1865, the government started taxing the sale of cigars. So we started to see more of these boxes being discarded and used for instruments. This is the first known illustration of a cigar box instrument. This is not the first instrument that's been recorded. There were written records before this time. But in 1865, we have this picture of a soldier playing a cigar box fiddle.
Oh,
And,
wow.
yeah, and this fiddle has 1 string on it, and he's playing it with a bow and has a fingerboard on it. And if he puts that bow down and he plucks that guitar, they call that instrument a diddly bow. And that's where the artist Bo Diddley took his name from.
Really?
Yeah.
And a quick little sidebar.
Yeah.
We have a children's performer, Miss Calliope, who's going to be at our festival during the Saturday, June 1st portion at Lone Mill. And she has been so inspired by the cigar box instrument. She's written a tongue twister song that the kids can participate in about Bo Diddley. So Bo Diddley played his diddly bow, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So another cool thing that happened in the history of the cigar box guitar is in the 1880s, a gentleman by the name of Daniel Carter Beard published the instructions on how to make a cigar box banjo with 5 strings. His name might not be as familiar as his friend Baden Powell. Those 2 guys got together to form the Boy Scouts of America.
Really?
Yes, and prior to the Boy Scout handbook being authored, they had put together a book called the American Handbook for Boys. And I was a scout and a scout leader, and I used to collect the older scout handbooks. And you know, those original copies are really difficult to find, but I found a reproduction copy of that original handbook for boys. And this was sitting up in my attic for over 30 years. And then I learned that the instructions on how to make a cigar box banjo are in the back of this book. And sure enough, I go thumbing through the back and I find those instructions on how to make a cigar box banjo. So I could have been building these things for a lot longer than I have been.
And have you built a cigar box banjo?
I haven't, but one of the friends that hangs out in our store,
Yeah.
another engineer, he decided to embark on the design from this and built one of them. And it sounds really cool and it's neat to see.
Very cool. And then going back to the store, obviously there's a lot of cigar box guitars, but what are some of the other instruments you can find in there?
So the neat thing about this hobby is it really doesn't need to be a cigar box. A cigar box is helpful because it can act as a resonator and give you a nice big warm acoustic sound if you have a large cigar box. But anything that will hold tension on strings, you can make a guitar out of. So I've used shovels, baseball bats, boat oars, anything stiff enough to keep tension on the strings. I'll have people bring me grandpa's old cigar box and I'll make an heirloom instrument out of it. I had somebody recently bring me a gas can and I turned that into a guitar. Obviously having more strings, you get more layers of sound.
Okay.
But the more strings that you have, the more you need to manipulate those strings. And it can become more difficult to try to learn how to make various chords. With the 3-stringed instrument, which we make the most of, it's open tuned to an open G.
Okay.
So right off the bat, I can create G chords without having to do anything with my other hand. And with a couple more chords, I can make up a whole lot of music. So that's what makes this such a great instrument, just to pick up and start playing as a novice and not having any music background. The 2-string instruments I make are typically basses with a G and a D, still tuned the same as this, so you can play along together as a band. Obviously, we talked about the diddly bow, which is a 1-string instrument. And they all have their advantages of different things that you can play on them. And when you plug them into an amplifier and you run them through some guitar pedals, sky's the limit on the type of sound you can make with them.
Super cool. And also, you mentioned like building them with different things. How does that also affect the sound?
So when I have a cigar box where the lid is very thick, it doesn't really want to resonate as well. So I'll make more of an electric guitar out of that. We'll rely on the magnetic pickup to pick up the vibrations of the strings. Something that's got a more hollow or acoustic sound, I can use what they call a piezo pickup, and that picks up all the vibrations that are in the box. I have both a magnetic and a piezo in this particular instrument. Other instruments where it's very rigid and it doesn't vibrate at all, much like a baseball bat, I would put a magnetic coil pickup on that to pick up the vibrations.
Super cool.
But even the cigar boxes all sound different. And it has to do with the overall size of the cigar box, the depth of the box, and then not just whether it has the sound hole or not, but even the shape of the sound hole. So the same exact cigar box will sound different depending on what Jeff does to it, even minus the pickups and other things for amplification.
Super cool. Yeah. Well, before we jump into I think I'm hearing about the 1-minute challenge. Can you just further discuss a little bit more about the history of y'all's store?
Sure, yeah, the store was started back in 2010 by John Nickel.
Okay.
And John had attended one of the local cigar box guitar festivals and got really excited about these things. He was one of the first store owners there at Low Mill. Him and his dad partnered up to get the store opened up, and he's run it with various business partners over the years. He went off to do other things before his dad ended up kind of backfilling with other friends, taking over the store for many years. And it's just been this wonderful community resource for builders who come into town and want to learn how to make one of these things, where they can go and get parts and get some instruction or feedback on a build, as well as that music instruction that we still offer every Saturday from noon to 2. And it's fun to bring the community together. People who maybe they're experienced 6-string players and they want to try something new. Maybe they have a partner who doesn't know how to play guitar at all, and now we can teach that partner how to play the 3-string so they can do a little rhythm, while the other one maybe does some solos on a 6-string. So,
super cool.
Yeah.
I think I watched a few clips and it sounds really good. The clips from y'all's lessons, which I might be coming out there. You might see me one Saturday.
We hope you can make it.
We'd love to have you.
Yeah, and every week it's a different group of people. Sometimes we'll have folks that come back on a regular basis, so we'll try to do some more advanced things to increase everybody's skill level. And a lot of times it's new people. Maybe they've never picked up an instrument before, but they sit down and they get excited because they see how quickly they can start to make familiar sounds with these.
But because it's free and there's no sign up required, we never know who's going to walk in the door.
That's right.
So one day day we may have a handful of folks walk in the door. We may have a week like last week where literally we had every single seat and every single loaner guitar handed out, and we
Wow.
just had a huge crowd of people. So we never know. It's always different, and we do have some folks who we consider sort of regulars. A few of them actually have formed their own band, and they are going to be part of the 3 acts that we'll have performing at our festival on Thursday, May 30th. That's the first day of the festival.
Okay.
So there's a group called Low Life with a phenomenal singer, a Cigar Box bassist, and a Cigar Box guitarist that'll be performing. John Nickel will also be performing on that night, our former store owner, as well as Tim Cannon, who's another local musician who
Yeah.
plays around town.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm excited about it now. I can't wait. I'm definitely gonna mark my calendars and come on out and see
Great.
everything in store. But do you have a favorite one that you've created, like out of all of them?
Well, I'm going to go back to one of my first ones, or
Okay,
actually
yeah.
my very first guitar. This guitar, I didn't even have a cigar box at the time. And I built the box on my table saw. And I laser etched in the markings. And this was just scrap wood that I had lying around, and
Wow.
was able to bring
It's
it all
beautiful
together with all
wood, too.
inlay, and there's real ebony inlays on the side, and
Wow.
red balau and maple, and then just a plywood box. But yeah, this was the first thing that got me excited and just kept me going.
It's so beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I guess another one of my favorites is when Tara saw me having all this fun with these,
Yes.
she said, "Hey, you've got to make me a guitar." And I said, "Well, I like to theme my guitars and really personalize them." And Tara's been a journalist for many years, and this kind of celebrates what she's been doing. This is a real composition notebook that I have here. I made the neck look like a pencil. I even chamfered the back of it like a pencil would be. This is a piece of a juice can for the ferrule for the eraser.
cool.
There's little typewriter keys here on the fretboard. The bridge looks like an eraser, but that's a piece that I made on my laser. This looks like a pencil sharpener, but I 3D printed that, and I fabricated the little, looks like a Scrabble piece here. In the sound holes, I've got a pen and ink
Wow.
there. So just a lot of fun being creative. As an engineer, you get to express some of your creativity, but you're kind of limited by the requirements. Here's your budget, here's your schedule, here's your requirements, and you got to stay within that. But with art, it's limitless.
That's right.
And you just find something that inspires you and have fun with it.
So I would say they're all art guitars, but Jeff sort of calls that category of instruments his art guitars because they're more complex than the instruments that
Right.
we're holding right here. And what I like to see have happen with folks who come in who are interested in his art guitars, they're often collaborating. So they have not just a statement piece that they've got, like Grandpa's old cigar box or a lunch box that they grew up carrying to school, something like that. But they also have ideas on what they want for the fret markers or the design of the headstock or the colors of the wood. So it's fun to see folks collaborate on what they want their art to look like.
Yeah, well,
absolutely.
I think I'm about ready to play. I'm going
Good.
to try my hand at this. We'll see. All
All
right.
right, so we need to get you a
Guitar
pick.
pick?
Yes. I have a pick right.
You got a
Okay,
pick,
good.
okay?
All right, and you've got one?
I've got one here.
So let's make sure we're all in tune. Good. So much like when you watch the orchestra warm up,
Okay.
and they're all kind of doing their own thing with their instruments. You don't think of that as music, you think of it as noise. Everybody's kind of doing their own thing. But when they all start to come together and play together, you have this music. And playing the guitar or any other instrument for that matter is very similar to that. If you work together as a team and you keep your timing, even if you're off by a note and you don't hit the right spot, it's okay. Nobody's going to notice.
Okay.
But
that's good.
if you're
That's
clapping
good
on
news.
1 and 3, you're going to stand out more.
Uh-huh.
So the key thing is just keep the timing. If we can all stay in time, if you miss a little bit, that's okay. First, we're going to start with just some basic strumming, and we're going to strum all 3 strings, right? And just strum all 3 like that. There you go, perfect. So we're going to strum 4 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's keep going on 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Now we're going to try some up strumming, but the up strumming is going to be on the and. So 1 and 2 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Very good. So now what I'm going to do is teach you how to cheat.
Okay.
So you're going to take your left hand and you're going to gently mute the strings so they don't ring anymore. You get a scratching sound. So we're not pressing real hard, we're just gently touching them so they don't ring. Now we've got a drum in our hands. Now if we alternate between the muting and the open strum, we've got something that starts to sound a little like music right
A
there.
little bit, yeah.
So remember those two things, because might have to cheat a little bit later. If you
right.
miss a little bit, just do that, get in the scratch, just stay in the rhythm. You can be the percussionist. So let's start by taking our index finger and holding it here at the bottom string on the 12th fret, where the double dots are, and we're going to again strum the three strings 4 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4 again. Now move up 1 step to 11, right above it. Now 9, 7, 5, 4, 2, and open. Very good. So let's listen to what we just did. See if this sounds familiar. Or how about this way?
Yep.
Do, re, mi, fa,
re,
sol.
mi, yeah.
So just a scale, that's all we did. And you can make up music by just running up and down the scale.
Okay.
And if you just change the rate at which you go up the scale, you can find that there are a lot of familiar songs, like same notes we just played, just in a little bit of a different rate. So, you know, these instruments were started in the South. Poor folks grab an old cigar box, they'd get a broom handle, they'd go up to the screen porch and they would steal one of the loose wires off the ends or get a piece of baling wire and string themselves up a guitar. And I think that these guitars are great for playing the blues. You want to give the blues a shot?
Let's try it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna take our index finger
Okay.
and we're gonna hold on the 3rd fret at the middle string.
Okay. Middle string.
So you want to be just above the fret wire that's here, okay? Now I'm going to take my ring finger and I'm going to put that right here at the 4th fret
Okay.
on the bottom string. 4th
Bottom
fret. Yeah,
okay.
now strum that. Let's hear how it sounds. You got it. Okay? So that's the first chord we're going to do. Now the other 2 chords, we're going to leave our hand in this position. Leave these fingers the way they are. But we're either going to slide it up 1 space towards the headstock or down towards the body. So when I say 2, we're going to slide up to 2 and 3 and play this chord. Okay. Back to the 3. Now slide down to 4. Down to 4 towards the box.
Towards.
One more spot towards the box, right there. That's 4 and
okay.
5, yep. That's it. Slide all the way up to 2. One more spot. There you go, 2. And then back to the 3. Okay, good. So those are the 3 chords, and I'm going to shout out where we need to go.
Okay.
All right? So key thing is stay in the timing and don't forget to cheat
No.
if you have to, all right? So start on the 3, so strum with me. So. Here you go. Back to 3. 4. 2. You got it. 3. Keep it going on 3. Stay on 3. 2. 3. 4. 2. 3.
Perfect.
You did it.
Good. That was
You're
awesome.
a blues artist now.
Yeah, I'm a blues artist.
And now you know exactly what I was talking about, how you can play more simply
Yeah.
with folks who are playing more complicated ways, and we can all play together.
Yeah, that is super awesome. Yeah.
So you've
Wow.
passed the 1 minute challenge and the 2 minute challenge.
And the 2 minutes. Wow. I feel special right now. I'm a musician.
You absolutely are.
That is,
So we've got 4 days in 5 different locations. Things start on Thursday night, May 30th, over at the Casual Pint in Providence, where we'll be having originally Huntsville Cigar Box Guitar Style. So
Yeah.
we'll have 3 local bands
Awesome.
all playing original music on cigar box instruments. On Friday, we move over to Wuest Family Field. That's where the soccer team
Yep.
plays. And we'll be in the beer garden there. Opening for us in the evening, we have Microwave Dave, our local legend, playing with Debbie Bond and her band.
Okay.
They're going to be focusing on the blues music, great music to dance to. Headlining that night will be Coburn, fronted by Aaron Coburn. And Aaron plays a variety of guitars, including two 4-string lunchbox guitars, and a ukulele like nobody's business. She plays
Wow.
Jimi Hendrix on a ukulele.
Wow.
So she's going to
Okay.
rock out. And Jeff actually just completed a special ukulele that she's going to be debuting live for the first time on Friday night. And on Saturday, we move over during the day to Low Mill Arts and Entertainment.
Yes.
And we'll be indoors this year. So previously at Low Mill, we've been outdoors on the lawn, but it's got a little hot last year. So we're going to be indoors just behind the dock there in the connector. That's their event space. Everything's free. We'll have several different bands playing. We'll have the king of the cigar box guitar, a YouTuber folks who are learning how to play cigar box guitar. He's very popular with them.
Okay.
We'll have soul and funk from the Cigar Box Serenaders out of New Orleans. And they play entirely instruments made out of homemade materials, including a drum kit made out of trash. So think garbage can lid for the
Yeah.
cymbal and a Rubbermaid tom for the kick and what have you.
Wow,
So that's
that
pretty
is-
cool. We'll have kids activities where they can build their own instruments and do other things. We'll have Miss Calliope doing her Bo Diddly Diddly Bo song, as well as lots of other music for the kids. Then on Saturday night, we move over to the Orion this year. And we're in the Artist Meadow. That's the grassy backyard area of the Orion.
Okay.
Beautiful setting. And our opener on Saturday is Galia Volt. Galia is a trio. She's backed by a couple of guys, and she's big in the blues scene. So currently she's touring with Taj Mahal. Earlier this year, she was with Allman Betts Revival. So she's coming up in the blues scene. And then our headliner on Saturday night is Gary Nichols. He's the Grammy winner, former frontman of the Steel Drivers. And we were able to get a special instrument into his hands. Jeff built a guitar for him, and he's been playing a ton out of it for the last couple of months. He'll be backed by a very special group called the Fame Gang. Those are the studio musicians out
Yeah.
of Fame Recording Studios. So on Saturday night, we'll have an 8-piece band with horns. It's going to be pretty incredible.
Awesome.
And then we conclude things on Sunday, June 2nd, with Jazz Brunch. The Cigar Box Serenaders will return with kind of a classic Louis Armstrong vibe for
Yeah.
Jazz Brunch. And they're over at Beezer on Northside Square for that. So
Wow.
it'll be a nice end. We're, as I mentioned, raising money for music education, music in the schools. So we take donations. On Friday night and Saturday night, we ask for a $10 suggested donation. That all proceeds are going to the 2 charities that we're benefiting. But with every $10 donation, you get a little ticket. And Jeff's made a couple of special guitars that we're going to be giving away, one on Friday night and one on Saturday night as well.
Sounds like a very eventful weekend, and
We're
yeah,
gonna
I'm
be
excited
busy.
about it. Yeah, you guys have hyped it up. I'm ready to go.
Good, good. We're hoping to
You
raise.
might see me on stage.
All right.
You are welcome to join in.
But yes, absolutely. So for anyone watching at home, make sure you head out to the Cigar Box Guitar Festival. It should be an exciting time. And also, if you want some lessons, you know where to find Jeff and Tara. So anyway, I hope you all have a great rest of your day. And with WAFF 48, I'm A.J. Wuest, and I'm on your side. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you for having
I
us.
appreciate it.